Hello there.
Welcome back to another episode of Star Wars in the Galaxy, watching all the stars we can get our hands on. I'm Eli.
I'm Jacob.
And this is episode 133 of Star Wars in the Galaxy. We are continuing on. This is episode 5, season 17 of Star Wars in the Galaxy. We're going through, of course, Young Jedi Adventures this season. The thing I'm dragging Jacob through for, I think, a few more episodes now. But in all fairness, I think last episode was when it started to get really good. And I don't think there's any signs of stopping now.
Yeah, definitely not.
Yeah, we have 4 episodes to discuss today. We have of course, we are doing a selection because I do not think I could make Jacob sit through stuff.
It would be a lot. It would be a lot.
I don't think I could make Jacob sit through the stuff like the G-rated version of Little Shop of Horrors and Young Jedi Adventures.
Oh gosh, when you say it like that, I wish you had included it.
It's way less interesting.
But,
no offense,
right.
but yeah,
I'll have to watch it on my own time then.
Yeah. It's called. What is it called? Which one? The Growing Green Danger. Anyway.
Oh wow, anyway. The Growing Green Danger. I see.
I literally Little Shop of Horrors. I'm telling you, except for without Dentist, which is a banger song. Anyway, so we left off last time ending with both parts of episode 15 of Young Jedi Adventures. Today we watched both parts of episode 16, Mystery of the Opal Cave and Clash, the first part of episode 17, Stuck in the Muck, and we skipped episode 18 and we watched the first part of episode 9, Life Day. 19 is going to be weird. This is the only time we're doing this because we are actually going to be watching the other part of 19 for next week.
Okay.
It just split like this. Like the two don't have to do anything really with each other. This one's about Life Day. And Jacob, I don't know if you caught the second half, what the second half of 19 is called.
I don't remember it off the top of my head right now.
It's called Raxlow Strikes Back.
Oh. Everyone's favorite evil capitalist chicken.
Yeah, so this is you got spared Raxlow this episode, so there's that at least. But we got so much going on in all 4 of these episodes.
In the Mystery of the Opal Cave, our favorite Jedi younglings are taking a trip to Utu Prime, touring the gem mines. However, they learn that the most prized gems of all by the Utuans, the opals, are in a cave that is closed off because of a dangerous shadow monster that appears in old Utuan legends, has been popping up recently and has scared off all the miners. So the Jedi decide to investigate this, and Nubs gets carried off on a runaway minecart. And Kai has to convince Ava, who is one of the Utuans, to overcome her fears to help rescue Nubs and explore the cave. Now they get to the source of the supposed shadow monster, and they realize that it's actually just a literal shadow projection on the wall of the cave, a speaker, and a fog machine. Who else would be behind all this but Tabor, who is taking advantage of the ancient legends? Eli's gesturing at me like, yup, who else but Tabor? Taking advantage of the ancient legends to drive out everyone else so that he and his gang of pirates can take all the opals for themselves and sell them for a profit. But when they find this out, there's a confrontation between the Jedi and Tabor's gang. But Nubs and the locals also use some shadow trickery of their own to impersonate another monster, driving off Tabor and saving the day. In Clash, we open back on the Tanu Temple. It's sparring day, so Kai, of course, Mr. Lightsaber, is very excited. But today, Master Zia asks Kai to train with someone who... Is this a new character, or is it just the first time that I've seen him?
This is a new character.
Yeah. So we have a new Jedi youngling named Djovi. And Djovi is very good at lightsaber sparring. Better than Kai, in fact. So Kai ends up losing the sparring round, or I guess... Master Zia does specifically say, hey guys, there's no winners and losers. But Kai gets disarmed by Djovi, and he is really in his feelings about it. He's very upset. Djovi is a very good duelist and thoroughly outmatched Kai, and Kai is pretty upset about losing to them. Master Zia, foreseeing all this, knowing Kai, knowing Djovi, sends the two of them to find a glowstone out in the jungle. They get very competitive over finding the glowstone, but they end up bonding over their Jedi knowledge and their enthusiasm for the Order, only for Djovi to use a distraction to grab the stone while Kai is not looking. They end up tussling over the stone, dropping it onto the floor, of the jungle hundreds of feet below the bridges where they are. This leads them to have a reckoning where they have to reckon with their competitiveness. They have to talk it out. They both feel like they have to be the best. Kai wants to be the best at lightsaber combat. He feels like he's Mr. Lightsaber. Jovi, they really want to impress Master Zia. They want to show that they can be the best at something too. But they end up joining forces. They end up joining forces in order to recover the stone. And Jovi executes a very daring maneuver to save Kai from one of Star Wars's favorite things, a massive bottomless pit. So they end up bringing the stone back together and becoming good friends.
In Stuck in the Muck, Kai is extremely excited because he and Bliss and Nubs get to tour a new space station that is being built for the Republic called Starlight Beacon. He anxiously awaits his chance to get to Starlight Beacon, even asking Nash, who's taking the younglings several times, basically the equivalent of, "Are we there yet?" When Nash receives a distress call from the planet of Galjero, they track the distress call and they find that it is the pirates from Jellyfruit Pursuit that mocked Tabor, led by the Abednego Chig. Chig and his crew were so inspired by the Jedi's acts of generosity that they decided not to be pirates anymore and become legitimate fruit sellers throughout the galaxy. And the Jedi younglings tried to get the former pirates' ship out of the mud. Kai, however, is too distracted by the tantalizing thought of getting to see Starlight Beacon, so he ends up making it worse, having the ship fall down a significant part and fall in front of a cave where a hungry monster waits to devour it. The younglings and the pirates make up a plan to chuck fruit at the monster to distract it, while they try to get the former pirate's ship out of the muck. And then they offer to bring Chig and his crew to Starlight Beacon. They eventually get to the picturesque Republic station, where they are greeted by of Starlight Beacon, Jedi Master Estala Maru. He is pleased that not only did the Jedi bring a tree sapling from Tennu to Starlight Beacon, which was their original objective, but also that they helped people along the way, and offers to give them all a tour of the new Starlight Beacon. In Life Day, Kai, Liss, Nubs, Zia, and Yoda go to Kashyyyk for Life Day, a Wookiee festival celebrating love and togetherness. Liss quickly makes friends with a Wookiee named Jogashaka, also called Joe, and the four of them head to a banquet with Zia, Yoda, and the Wookiee chieftain Wittigik, and enjoy a sumptuous Life Day feast. Jogashaka, also known as Joe, tells Liz that her favorite part of the ceremony is actually not the feast, but a part where they put what they call Life Day orbs up and watch them glow around them. Joe gives Liz her orb, but Liz accidentally drops it, and what follows is a lengthy chase by Liz, Nubs, Joe, and Kai to try and get the orb back. Liz tries to go it alone at first, but eventually Kai, Joe, and Nubs convince her that she needs as much help as she can get finding the orb before the celebration starts. They eventually get the orb, but it is broken in the process, at which point Chief Wittigik, right? Give me a second. Yeah. Chief Wittigik explains that the orb is not the most important part of Life Day. The most important part is togetherness and being surrounded by friends and family. At which point they celebrate a day of peace, a day of harmony together in their red robes as they celebrate Life Day. I could not do that. All right. We got 4 eventful episodes here. I think, honestly, and no offense to Mystery of the Opal Cave, but we're beginning with the one I like the least. Not that I hate this one, it's just the other 3 are special to me for other reasons.
Yeah, I didn't feel like this one had quite as much going on, to be honest, as some of the other ones. And ultimately, it just felt like the stakes, even and one of the I will say that one of the things that's enjoyable about this show is that it's a low stakes show a lot of the time. It's not necessarily, oh, we have to do this or the world's gonna end, this planet's gonna blow up, the empire's gonna get so much stronger, the separatists, whatever the case may be. This is usually something pretty mellow, more on the interpersonal level, which I enjoy. However, this one just feels okay. We're helping them get the the gems back. I guess we don't really know about what the significance of them, what the significance of these gems are, things like that. And ultimately, it's got some fun moments for sure, but
Yeah. I think
not
that there's
not a ton of substance necessarily.
Yeah.
Compared to
there's a
some of
bunch
the
of
episodes that we've seen so far.
I think there's a bunch of reasons why I picked this episode to put in here. One of the biggest ones is actually still about Tabor, actually. Because Tabor, last time, with the talent takeover, Kai and Lissa Nub saved his ass from the Gangools.
Yeah.
And
that's true.
So he's going to be more grateful and maybe turn over a new leaf from now on, right? No. Things aren't that simple. Things are never that simple.
I mean, to be fair, he didn't know they were going to show up.
I know, but I'm saying, like, yes, but still. The point is, he's still trying to steal stuff. He's still trying.
Yeah.
It still seems like he is, and I'm saying it seems like he is. I know he's not, but it seems like he's unaffected by what happened. Yeah, again, Tabor Redemption is not, as I call it, Tabor Redemption is not a straight line.
Oh, yeah, by no means.
We're going to have a lot of irritations along the way. We had the stuff with Off the Rails, where he and Kai had to go back, and then he abandoned the wood. And then we had the talent takeover, and we thought we were really getting somewhere. And then there's this. And we just aren't, which I think is a really great part of it. Again, I can pretty easily tell you that Tabor Redemption is coming, but it is not,
like you said, it's not a straight line.
Yeah, it's messy. Yeah.
The fact that he as well backs off as soon as these monsters pop up, that could be construed as just, oh yeah, that could be just cowardice or just him backing out of a dangerous situation, but that could also be construed as him taking on a little bit more of that mentality of, hey, when is it not worth the trouble? Because previously Tabor really was I'm forgetting the name of the episode, the one with the one where Tabor and Kai have to work together to get the Oggs. Previously in Off the Rails, he had a mentality of get the loot, get the goods, get what's going to make me money, get that secured at all costs. And we'd see him take a different approach here. It could be read completely the other way, but I thought that was noteworthy in its own right a little bit, I'd say.
By the way, I'll give credit to Tabor here, because finally he's stealing something that I can understand, can actually understand this time why he wanted to steal. It's not fruit or logs. It's like pearls, which, like, you know.
Yeah, but it's fruit or logs that can be sold for money. That's what he's after.
No, I understand that.
I get what you mean.
What do you think is going to sell for more money, exactly?
Yeah, sure. Fair enough. Fair.
But yeah, no, I think I just like the adventure vibes of this. There's a lot of stuff from Indiana Jones, the Temple of Doom I love here. A lot of those, like, cavern vibes, like with the minecarts, reminded me of the minecart chase at the end of Temple of Doom. Love. I also was reminded recently, I rewatched the Gathering arc, actually. This trial honestly reminded me a lot of Biff's trial in the Gathering, where he literally just needs to walk into the room and get his crystal. He needs to walk into that part to get his crystal. There are a lot of scary noises and fogs in there, but that's all there is. Nothing's actually going to hurt him in there.
Yeah.
It's all his perception of what's happening. that's getting him.
Quite literally smoke and mirrors.
It is quite literally smoke and mirrors, yeah. As Luke says in Rise of Skywalker, confronting fear is the destiny of a Jedi. Actually, I feel like this is subtly a Nubs episode, because Nubs is the one who has to confront his fear the most.
Yeah, that's the biggest lesson here, because this is a show that's big on lessons, is the biggest lesson has to be, don't let your fears of the unknown get in the way of you figuring out what's going on, ultimately.
Yeah.
I like the fact that fog machines exist in Star Wars now.
I didn't think about that. That is funny. That is very funny.
Like, just a straight up, like, Halloween fog machine. Like, nothing different to it, nothing fancy, just a fog machine. Yeah. They just bought a fog machine, and they were like, we're gonna set up this whole elaborate hoax to make a shadow monster. It's pretty good.
No, it's pretty fun. Yeah. I don't know if you realize this. I just realized now that Pord is the counterpart to Nubs. Because Pord jumps into EB3's arms the exact same way that Nubs jumps into Kai's arms earlier in the episode. It's the exact same animation. Mm-hmm. And they're both the cute little guys who are the youngest and naivest of the group, which I just noticed, which is fun. Do you have anything else for this one? I know this is kind of the most uneventful.
I don't think this was the most interesting. I think Clash is a much better episode, personally.
Clash is probably my favorite overall episode of this one, but the last 3 minutes of Stuck in the Muck are my favorite stuff this week.
Stuck in the Muck as well was a banger. But to open up Clash, I liked being able to actually see the younglings practice the forms, see them have a little bit of time at the temple. You know, I am a sucker for some good world building. You know, when we get to see a little bit more of those menial, banal, day-to-day moments, habits, and activities. So it was fun to see.
Yeah.
It was fun to see that. But then obviously that kicks off the main intrigue of this story, which is the introduction of our friend Djovi.
Yeah.
Who is better than Kai at lightsaber dueling, I think, pretty unequivocally by the end of their fight, I would say.
They've been practicing, and they're a fun character. We'll see them again. Actually, I'm not sure if we'll see them again specifically. I know they're in an episode that I think there are a few episodes that we're not watching for various reasons, but I remember in our episode with Isabella earlier this season, I remember both of us were talking about how we'd want to see them become a main series cast member next season, because they're great. One of the things that's so great about them, and that Jacob and I were discussing earlier, is that, yes, they are the first on-screen non-binary character in Star Wars.
Yeah, it's great. I mean,
which again is like this show. It's funny to say that a show for 5-year-olds is groundbreaking in LGBTQ plus representation in Star Wars, but it is.
Yeah, I like the way that it's presented. I like the way it's handled. I think
it's not a big deal.
Djovi's here. Everyone just refers to them as them. No biggie. This is what it is.
Like Nash's two mothers. No one makes a big deal about it, and it's But no, they're great. The relationship between Kai and Djovi is great. I think Djovi is somebody like Kai who very much wants to prove themselves.
Yeah,
I think this episode is a lot about what does it mean to want to prove yourself, and what are the upsides and downsides of wanting to do that so badly.
Yeah, I hope that they would bring back Djovi and make them more a part of the cast. I think it's very cool. I think as they bring, they bring out something different. They bring out something different in Kai, and it's interesting to see those two personalities. And it's fun to see those two personalities, bounce off each other, because it so often is the case that Kai is just the natural leader of the group, or he's the one making certain brash decisions that
Nubs and Liz
put the conflict in motion.
Nubs and Liz are both very deferential to Kai for various reasons. Nubs, I think, because he's a bit younger, and Liz because Kai is often in the situations where he thrives versus where she thrives, or at least that we've seen. Honestly, I tend to focus on a lot of the episodes where Kai thrives and not where Liz thrives, because a lot of the Liz episodes, and it's not because of her, it's because what they're going up against are boring, honestly. They're because Liz is the creatures one. She's a creatures girl, and most of the time, them just facing creatures is not that interesting to me.
Yeah. And I think it's interesting when we have another kind of big personality.
Yeah. Djovi wants to stake their
these Jedi
claim
younglings.
just as much as Kai does. Yeah, no, that's another thing. Yeah, as you said, this episode is incredibly low stakes, and yet it feels one of the biggest of the episodes. It feels deserved. I understand why this was an episode.
Yeah, I think. Excuse me. I think what I enjoyed about this episode is that, despite the fact that it's very low stakes, we literally get Djovi and Kai wondering, why have we both been sent out here by Zia on this seemingly almost meaningless mission just to get one light. But I think that's the perfect setting for this to take place, which is such an important development for Kai.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I think that we see that the stakes here are Kai's development and Kai's idea of himself.
And Jovi's development, and Jovi's idea of themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that by the end, we get to this place where obviously they work together, but they talk it out and they realize that, yeah, so it's good to be competitive, but at the same time, you can't stake it all on being the best, because there's always going to be someone
there's always the bigger fish.
Unless you are the best in the entire galaxy at lightsaber combat, in this case, there's always going to be someone who's going to be better than you. So I think that in the end, it's a valuable lesson. It's a valuable lesson for both of them.
And it's clear like they're having that because Kaya is, of course, very dismayed by the, what I'm going to call the Darth Maul excuse, which is the idea of, look, when we catch up with Darth Maul in the Clone Wars, when they bring him back to life, there's definitely a part of him that's, oh my god, Kenobi ruined my life, I had my destiny and all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Yeah. But totally. I think a part of Darth Maul was genuinely like, he beat me. No one does that. No one gets to beat me. I'm the best.
Yeah, I mean, for him, it's all about humiliation.
Yeah, and he, other than his master, and he was working on that one, and he thought he was working on that one. Maul did not think he could be bested by anybody. Maybe Yoda. Of course, he was wrong, but he had no way of knowing that because he didn't get to fight Jedi that often. But like that I love I wrote in my notes. I love that the crux of this episode is quote, Kai lost and is salty. Yeah, like I love that. That's what it is. It's nothing happened other than he lost a fight.
I don't know if I would call him salty. I think he was genuinely doing some soul searching, because this is the first time where he hits that wall of not being the best at what he stakes his pride on. Yeah. So I think it's deeper than just being salty or being competitive. This is a moment that everyone has many of these moments during their life, and this is one of those for Kai.
Oh, absolutely. And it's really a great reflection into that. What I think is really interesting is looking at this from both of their perspectives, honestly. Because the quote-unquote slight to Kai comes first, where Djovi beats him. But we learned from Djovi later on, and this makes sense. When you look at it from their perspective, makes a lot of sense. Kai does seem like Zia's golden child. They had that mission in the Jedi and the Thief together. She's always supported him. Not that she hasn't supported others, but that Kai does seem to be her favorite. Whether or not that's true, we've seen a lot of interaction between the two of them.
Yeah, but I think that again might also just be a function of Kai being the show often defaulting to Kai being the main character and oftentimes the one whose eyes through which the show is often told. I think that a lot of the times when we see Kai and Zia, it's because Zia feels the need to set Kai straight when he goes off the rails a little bit, usually because he's a little bit too enthusiastic, a little bit too maybe leaning too much into that ego-heavy side
Yeah.
of himself where he really wants to be the best.
But again, Djovi
because we've seen that get him in trouble before.
Yeah, because again, Djovi has no way of knowing that. Like,
yeah, that's true. Yeah, Djovi does have no way of knowing that.
And so what it might look like to them is, oh, he's he's Zia's favorite. And this only gets worse when Kai shows them the lightsaber, the training lightsaber.
Yeah.
So not only is Zia, not only is the favorite of Zia, he's the favorite of the guy who runs this whole show. He's, of all of the Admiral Jedi, he's the favorite of him.
Yeah.
But I can't be. There's like there's that line near the end. I'll never impress Master Zia this way. Djovi then follows it up. They say afterwards, you're not the only one who feels like you have to be the best. Where Kai needs to understand that the feeling that he's feeling is in no way, no offense to him, unique.
Yeah.
That everybody gets that. And that even the greatest people in the world still have moments of insecurity.
Yeah. I mean, that is definitely the case. That is true. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's really, it's a fantastic lesson for this episode. But of course, I need to talk about the Easter egg in this episode.
What's that?
When Kai and Djovi are debating Jedi Masters, Kai says, "Oh, Master Yoda's the best, blah blah blah, 650 years old, and all that kind of stuff." Do you remember who Djovi says is the best Jedi?
Oh gosh, it's on the tip of my tongue. You're gonna have to tell us.
Yeah, they talk about their admiration for Jedi Master Kriss, as in Avar Kriss, the hero of Hetzel, the Marshal of Starlight Beacon.
There it is.
One of the fan favorite characters of the High Republic. I remember when I heard them say Avar's name for the first time, I sat up when I was watching it for the first time. I'm like, oh my god, they didn't just go there. I know Avar Kriss is legendary. Obviously, if you watched our Jedi bracket stream, she made it quite far in that bracket stream before, I believe, being eliminated by, it was either Rey or Ahsoka, something like that. I don't know. But anyway, Avar is fantastic. She's a great character. She follows the song of the Force in her eyes. Yeah, the hero of Hetzel, although that hasn't happened yet. The Marshal of Starlight Beacon, which actually very much has happened, as we'll see in the next episode. One of my favorite characters, her arc in Phase 1 of the High Republic is so cool, from basically being, like, forget Kai, Avar Kriss is the golden child of the Jedi Order. She is, at the beginning, she represents everything that the Jedi are loved and respected for. But of course that can't last. So
it never does.
Yeah. The galaxy quickly falls under attack from the Nile, and she quickly sees her fellow Jedi around her and herself abandoning principles that they once thought were tantamount to their roles as Jedi. And she has, and there are these times in Phase 1 where, she's gonna do something brutal to Nile, but she's screaming but while she's about to cut down Nile soldiers in anger and rage, you know what she's screaming? The motto of the Jedi Order during this time: for light and life. So she's trying to execute these people brutally for justice, for light.
Quite telling sometimes.
Fantastic character, and I love that she's brought up here. But I love Kai and Djovi becoming friends here, as I want to see alongside, of course, Lakai Stanfield and Giga Nubs. I want to see grown-up Liz and grown-up Djovi alongside Giga Nubs and Lakai Stanfield.
That would be great.
That'd be really cool. Yeah, and of course we have that moment when Djovi when Kai and Djovi save each other from that bottomless pit. You heard what was in the background then, right?
Oh yeah, a little bit of the Force theme, of course.
It's the Force theme again.
Never a bad thing.
Which
Never
I think
a bad thing.
is richly deserved.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Yeah, but do you have anything else for Clash?
Not really. I really liked this episode, though. Look, the escape from the pit at the end, it was very goofy and unexpected, but I think it worked here where they were using their lightsabers to dig into the wall as a grip and then jump up to a higher position and floating the crystal back and forth. It was awesome. It was awesome.
Yeah.
And I liked Zia sums it up at the end. She says our job as Jedi is to help each other find the light so that we can share it. Or something to that effect.
Absolutely. Against the competitive nature that is very much of the dark side. I don't think they were tapping into it, of course, but that's where that leads.
Yeah, I think the lesson of this episode in many ways is balance, because they get better, they improve, they learn about themselves and each other, and they bond ultimately by being allowed to compete. But Zia also is careful not to let that go too far. Because if that goes too far, if that goes unchecked, there is a possibility that that does lead to some not so Jedi-like behaviors.
Yeah,
necessarily.
Absolutely. All right, you ready to go on to Stuck in the Muck?
Stuck in the Muck. Let's do it.
One of the first lines of this episode was just so surreal to me when I heard it for the first time. And again, I knew this was happening. We'd heard this announced before this episode happened, but I was still entranced by it. We gotta hurry so we can get on our way to Starlight Beacon. Starlight Beacon, for those of you, I hope I'm not offending you to say, like Jacob, who maybe aren't that familiar with High Republic, is the center point of Phase 1 of the High Republic. It is the ultimate symbol of what the Jedi are at that time. It's a space station put in the Outer Rim specifically to help people and bring communities together across the galaxy. It fits nicely hand in hand with the Jedi, with the High Republic's mantra at the time, which is "We are all the Republic."
Kind of symbolizing the optimism and the idealism of this time in Star Wars,
and that they're in many cases actually able to live up to. Very much, of course, the High Republic is the story about how the Jedi went from the Guardians of Peace and Justice of the Galaxy to what we see in the prequels. What took their order down so far that it degraded them to being Sith, have been extinct for millennia, they can possibly be back. We're keepers of the peace, not soldiers. 2 hours later, cuts off a guy's head, that kind of stuff. The hypocrisy and the hubris of the Jedi. The High Republic is what triggers all of that. Yeah. But yeah, of course, the writers know that we really want, that the audience also really wants Starlight Beacon, which is of course why they do not give it to us. And look, I understand, worth the wait, blah, blah, blah. I don't care, I'm greedy, okay? I want Starlight Beacon, okay? That's why I said the last 3-4 minutes of this are the best, because we get to see it.
Yeah, and Kai is just as excited.
Yeah.
Kai is just as excited as you are, Eli.
No, I know.
They have to stop and investigate a distress beacon on the planet called Jarrow.
Yeah, which is cool. And it's very cool. I like seeing that. I think it's really cool. I forgot about that little twist that Chig and his crew were stopped being pirates because of Kai listening to his actions, directly. Yeah.
It was a nice moment for sure. I can't help but wonder just how amazing must that jelly fruit be for one taste of it is all that it takes for these pirates to give up the pirate life and start up a fruit distribution business. But we have a case of mistaken identity as well. The ex-pirates are actually the rightful owners of the ship, and the Jedi just gung-ho rush in, completely just assuming that they're trying to break into this ship. But luckily Nash and gosh, what's his name, Eli?
Chig? Are you talking about?
Yeah, Nash and Chig run into each other up near the Firehawk, and they're able to sort it out. But there was a strange lapse for the Jedi, I would say.
For the High Republic Jedi, that was an extreme lapse of protocol and judgment on the younglings' part. For the prequel Jedi, that's called Tuesday.
Just rush in, guns blazing.
Don't ask questions.
Swing your lightsaber first. Ask questions later. Look, to be fair, they seem to be dealing with an unbelievable amount of piracy. It's pretty much Jedi and pirates in this show. It's pretty much Jedi and pirates. So
I mean, yes, but
blame them. But at the same time, you're kind of like, huh, okay. But regardless, the main crux of this is that they have to work together to get the ship out of the mud. And Kai, he's so hasty that he ends up getting them in deeper shit. Quite literally, accidentally pushes their ship down a cliff into the mouth of a cave where a giant beast resides. Certainly not helping matters.
Yeah. Okay, cool. We don't know that creature's name because I was like, are we supposed to know what that is? And I'm like, because it looks like a sarlacc. I know it isn't.
Wait, we didn't really get a good look at it. It reminded me a lot of that creature from one of the Zygerian slaver episodes in the Clone Wars when Anakin has to fight this giant tentacled creature as the ship is taking off.
Oh yeah, I kind of remember that. I don't know what that is, but yeah.
Yeah. But that's just food for thought. I doubt that there's much connection there. But they end up being able to work together. They use the fruit to distract the creature, and they use the Firehawk to tow the ship out of the mud. Yeah. I don't know, not much more to say about this, but clearly you are a Starlight Beacon enthusiast. So what if we?
Of course I am.
Yeah. What if we move on to the beacon?
Starlight Beacon. Yeah. By the way, she looks so good, doesn't she? God, she looks so great.
They make the inside look very nice. They do.
And I mean, just from the outside, God, it looks so great in animation. We've seen it a few times in illustrations and stuff like that, but God, just seeing ships go to and from there. There's like a lo-fi thing of like music where you can just watch like ships go in and out from Starlight Beacon. It's an hour-long thing on YouTube. God damn, I need to watch that soon because I could watch that for fucking ever. Yeah, no. Look, to put it very mildly, I feel more patriotic towards the High Republic than I do towards a fictional government, the High Republic, than I do to my own country.
Wow.
And that is true.
You are a High Republic enthusiast.
I haven't gotten into it enough, but goddamn, I remember just anytime a bunch of Jedi ignite their lightsabers, I just go and I wrote this in my notes. We are all the Republic, motherfuckers. These colors don't run, bitch. Let's go. Let's go, High Republic. Let's go. No, it's such a great era and all the white and gold aesthetics and all that kind of stuff. I guess if you look at it a certain way, I guess it could be blue and black, but I think it's white and gold. What a reference that was.
Yeah.
I don't know why I decided to put the dress into that, but okay. Yeah, and of course, we got to talk about a guy, Estalamaru, our third out of 4 pre-existing High Republic characters to show up during the show. The Jedi head of operations aboard Starlight Beacon, Kasurian Jedi Master. Yeah, love that guy. He's a major part of the High Republic comics, written by Captain Scott again. And yeah, it's fantastic. It's fantastic to see Estala in animation. Surely nothing bad could happen to him either.
Surely. Anything else for this, or should we talk about...
So he died?
Oh.
So Estalamaru, the end of Phase 1 of the High Republic. The Nihil want to strike at something big, something that they can really say, hey, we can claim a huge victory over the Republic for this. Because, of course, what do?
What do they do?
They attack Starlight Beacon.
Of course.
They infest Starlight Beacon with the Shriekerai, nameless creatures. And they use the chaos that they gain from getting the Shriekerais up there, basically, to sabotage the station, which is currently in orbit above the planet of Irem. And they crash the station. and Morrow goes down with the ship.
Ooh, rip.
Yeah. Of these 4 characters, that pre-established characters, 3 have bad fates, and 1 doesn't yet, but we'll see. So yeah. But yeah, no, just seeing Starlight Beacon, seeing those hallways, seeing that all that stuff, seeing Master Morrow is just fantastic.
It is nice. I don't think I fully am getting because of the context. I'm not necessarily getting all the same juicy lore connections out of this as you are. Someone who's more steeped in the High Republic than I am. But nevertheless, it was hype. I liked it.
Let's get into an episode where I think we both appreciate the lore of this. Life Day. The
Wookiees, Kashyyyk, it's all here. I'm so happy. I was so hyped to get to watch this episode.
I was going to say, this is an episode made for you, isn't it?
I'm a huge, you know me. Everyone knows I'm a huge Wookiee lover. I love Chewbacca. I love the giant walking dogs. I love Kashyyyk. I love it all. And it was amazing the way that it came out. The way that it came out in this animation. First of all, purple sunset on Kashyyyk. What? Come on, that opening was unbelievable. Kashyyyk is just gorgeous in this animation. At the feast, Yoda, he looks like he's wearing like lashes maybe or something. I don't know if they yossified Yoda a little bit. Maybe he wanted to get a little bit dressed up, a little bit gussied up for the nice occasion.
Hey, you know what they say? You know what they say?
What do they say?
You know what he says? He has good relations with the Wookiees. Hey.
He does apparently have good relations with the Wookiees, so he has to look his best. He has to look his best, and he certainly does here.
But yeah, no, obviously the thing I love most about this episode is the unabashed love it has for the holiday special. Nothing has been more mocked in Star Wars history. Nothing has been more degraded. Nothing has been more slandered. Not The Last Jedi, not The Rise of Skywalker, not the prequels, not anything. More than
They really put holiday special in the mud. They really did.
Yeah. And honestly, for good reason. It's not good. But
yeah,
whatever you think of it, and I'm of the opinion it's not good. And I think most people are as well. But if you love it, but
who doesn't love just long sequences of Wookiees talking?
And watching porn.
Yeah. A conversation for another time.
Yes, but
anyways, to your point, you were saying.
And we will cover the holiday special in the Galaxy, by the way. We will do that. When we get there in the timeline, I've always been planning to do that. So, yeah. We cannot deny its place in Star Wars history. Like, it's an important part of Star Wars history. It, like, really is.
Yeah, absolutely.
And seeing them take the orbs and the red robes from, like, the holiday special, and unironically, yeah, these rock. It's, like, such a cool flex of the show to do. For this show to be like to the hardcore fans, yeah, we know, Life Day. We're gonna make this cool. We're gonna make you like this. I think it's so cool. I think that is like, of course, it didn't start with this. Obviously, Life Day was brought into the Mandalorian in that first episode, and a lot of those ideas, like obviously like Kashyyyk, which was first introduced as Kazook in the holiday special, but also with Chewbacca's family, his son Lumpy, his wife Mala, his dad Itchy, all that. They've been slowly integrated into canon.
It's cool to see. It's nice to see.
It's in such an endearing way. I think friggin' the Arthur's character is canon. Akmena.
Gosh, really?
Wow. I think Akmena is canon. I'm not sure though. I don't know. I do not think Gormanda is canon, though. I would pay so many stirwhipsters to get him canon. But either way, just the fact that they have the orbs and the robes is just fantastic.
Dude, they bring it all back, and it's wonderful. It adds so much to Kashyyyk for the Wookiees. I love it. Yeah. I really do.
We have the new Wookiee Joe and Wittaguk. Right, Wittaguk, right?
Yeah, Chief Wittaguk.
Yeah.
It was Joe's grandparent. They fumble Joe's orb, and that's where things get interesting.
Yeah. No, it's interesting because I genuinely think the plot of this episode would be like 70% less interesting if it wasn't on Kashyyyk and if it wasn't Life Day.
And there would be no plot if it wasn't on Kashyyyk and it was on like
if it was just like they dropped an orb for a ceremony, like on some other
on a
planet,
different planet.
On a different planet with a different species, I think we would care like way less. But because it's Wookiees and because it's life days, we care.
Yeah, I think for us, for our Eli, you and I, for our specific subgroup of the fandom, for our slice of the audience of this show, I think it does make a huge difference. I think you're absolutely right. I think it doesn't for most people who are watching this, because most people who are watching this have probably never seen the holiday special.
No, but I still think there is a bit of that just because people know Wookiees.
Oh yeah.
People might not know the Life Day traditions, but they know Chewbacca and they know the Wookiees, and it's Chewbacca's people, and you get to, do a tradition with Chewbacca's
no, you're
people.
Right, yeah.
So, yeah.
You're right, yeah.
But yeah, they have to go around and try to get they have to go around and try to get that damn orb that they're dropping. They probably run into a few of Zalbar and fucking what's his name? Fuck. What the hell is that guy's name? They probably run into some of Zalbar and Chundar's descendants along the way. I don't know, honestly. Yeah, actually, this does remind me, just because we're in the top trees of the village and stuff like that, and that's where we are for a large portion of Knights of the Old Republic. You know what I mean? That reminds me. It reminds me of that a lot.
I agree. It does remind me of bits of that campaign. I think this episode, at the core of this episode, is Liz and she's trying to get the orb back because she is mortified. She feels terrible. She's the one who dropped it, and she's trying to do it all on her own. And she ends up cracking the orb after a series of hijinks. She's in like a chairlift for fruit, basically. She drops the orb, the chairlift almost breaks. It's a whole thing. But ultimately, it's similar to what Kai has to learn in Stuck in the Muck, which is that in Kai's situation, he's trying to help solve this problem, but he's more concerned at first with just getting off world and getting to the station. Liz is trying to solve this problem. She's trying to find the orb, but she's freaked out and she's trying to solo this entire problem because she's worried about wanting to save her standing and her emotional. Maybe it's not necessarily about PR, we could say, for her, but in her emotional state, she does feel very strongly that she needs to be the one to get it back. And in both those situations, by putting their own personal needs, even though those needs involve the problem at hand, by putting their own personal needs over really just solving the problem, they end up making it worse. And I think ultimately it's the same thing where Liz has to learn, hey, with a little help from my friends, it's a lot easier.
Oh, anyway.
And then ultimately as well, that the orbs are only part of what makes Life Day important. And they load up the damaged orb into the tree anyway, and everyone has a grand old time.
Everybody has a grand old time, yeah. And what was I going to say? And yeah, the orb, the whole, like, it's not about the orb. The orb is just a symbol of what it really means. That's fantastic. And what was I going to say? And yeah, of course, seeing those red robes for the first time since the holiday special, I'm pretty sure in Star Wars, is pretty cool as well. At least this time they don't have to be transported to another dimension somehow to do that. But I think that's going to be it for this episode of Star Wars and Galaxy. Thank you so much for listening. Next week, we're going to be doing, I believe, our penultimate episode of Young Jedi Adventures. Yes, our penultimate episode. So we're going to watch the second part of episode 19, Raxlow Strikes Back. The first part of episode 20, Aftershock. We're going to be skipping episode 21. And then we're going to be watching both parts of episode 22, The Tale of Short Spire and the Team Up. Some highlights from next week. Yes, Raxlow is back and he commits war crimes. Also, we go to Batuu. Yes, the Jedi go to Batuu. But anyway, you can follow us everywhere at In the Galaxy Pod. You can follow me everywhere on our link tree. on my link tree, linktr.ee/_exchange327. By the time this comes out, the Jedi Lords versus Big Chungus will have long been out on Epic Confrontations. Go check that out on our YouTube channel. Such a fun match to record. I think also by the time this is being out, this is coming out, it'll be soon. It'll be close to, if not time, for the story of Skywalker to come out. Jared and my mega project that we've been working on. So go check that out. Listen to this show on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. We'll be there. And if there's nothing else, I think all there's left to say is, may this force be with you.
Always.